should look into the camera. Welcome to Create Invent, the podcast where Jeremy and Pat talk about technology stuff. My name is Max Maker, and these are my hosts, Jeremy and Pat Regan.
It's good to meet you, right. Max, again.
Yeah, well, Max, you just kind of stepped in there and did the intro, so that's great. Yeah, I'm Jeremy, and this is Pat, and Max. You know, if you guys have been listening to the show for a while, you're obviously familiar with Max, and even if you're not, you might be familiar with him from his trash train. Can we call it that? Is that disrespectful to call your yard train the trash train?
Yeah, I call it the trash train.
Okay, good. So yeah, Max makes all kinds of interesting stuff. One time he made a hydrofoil. Maybe we'll talk to him about that. But yeah, Max, how are you doing? Let's just get it out there.
I'm really good. I did a lot of paving this week outside in the garden. So I've got quite sore muscles because I'm working on the floor all day. And here in the workshop, we're rebuilding a little bit. We're adding a miter saw station over here. So this is a new piece of wood right there that we're working on.
Okay.
And yeah, it's a little bit messy at the moment. All of the stuff is just lying around randomly.
That looks like a messy for a German messy. For American, that's a very clean shop. You know,
it's true. Max, I left my light off in the back, my, whatever you call the accent light back there, so nobody could see my mess behind me. It's very dark.
Yeah. I thought this is more interesting than what I have upstairs because there's just a white wall.
I thought you were going to say it was more interesting than my workshop, and I didn't know if I'm supposed to get mad at that or not.
I've never seen your workshop.
Oh, good.
Have you done a tour yet?
It's a mess.
But Max, now you are in Germany, as people, long-term listeners will know, and you're near Hamburg, I guess. Now you said you were outside doing some paving. It's cold there now, or is it not too cold right now?
It's very cold. It's between 3 and 5 degrees above freezing. But it's okay actually. If you work, it's not too bad.
Okay, so I guess that's what 40 degrees in American in good old American units. Maybe?
Yeah, maybe 35.
That's warmer
is 30
than
not
it's
the
been
one
here
where it's
this
freezing?
week.
What's that?
That's warmer than it's been here in Dallas this week.
Yeah,
We've been below
Dallas?
freezing every night for almost a week now, it feels like.
Did you move to Dallas?
Well, I'm a little bit north of Dallas. I'm not quite in Dallas, but people have heard of Dallas. Nobody's ever heard of my little suburb that I'm in.
I knew of Scranton.
Oh yeah, that's where I was born, and I lived there for 20-something years. But now, Max, you're not going to believe this. I'm in my 40s now. So I've spent time in quite a few places, it feels like, now.
But didn't you show me your house on Google Maps? That was in...
Oh, yeah, well,
Scranton.
you didn't believe me that I lived across the street from Alfredo's Pizza Cafe when I grew up. Yeah, that was...
Yeah.
But Max, I'm sorry to tell you, that house burned down.
Really?
Yeah, well, not to the ground. I mean, it was not livable after the fire, though. But I think somebody's bought it and fixed it back up. So it's not completely gone. But
So now you moved to Dallas?
I have been in Dallas the entire time I've known you, Max.
Oh, wow. Something confused
But
there.
Dallas hasn't been famous for being on TV since, like, the 70s, right?
That's right, because there was a show called Dallas, right? I never saw it.
But
It was
the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh, who are they? Do
yeah,
they
well,
play
that's...
sports?
Yeah, I watched Dirk Nowitzki, the Dirkulator, win the playoffs in 2011 or 12. I was quite excited. It was at 3 o'clock in the morning here.
I've never heard him referred to as the
Dirkulator. It's like Hercules, but with Dirk.
The Dirk. Well, I thought you were referring to like the Terminator because he's from Austria, right? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, he's from Germany. He's the Terminator.
Okay,
Yeah, the Terminator is from.
Oh, I have trivia.
Anyway,
I have Terminator
I'm giving
trivia
you a hard
for you
time.
guys. I was
Okay.
told by a German that Arnold Schwarzenegger was not allowed to dub his own voice in the Terminator for the Austrian release of the Terminator because the Austrians didn't think he sounded manly enough. to be the Terminator. It wasn't intimidating, and they didn't like it.
That's interesting because it's interesting though. You know, in that movie, he's got such a I don't want to say broken accent, but you can tell he's not like well, it's like you know you see like Conan and he's like, yeah, that's not that guy doesn't know English very well. But then it's like on Terminator, it's just like hello. It's like you can it's like a robot, you know, because he's not speaking that. It's awesome. He wasn't like Max, who it's like you know where's Max? Max speaks in English. You think maybe he's from you know, somewhere, who knows where, maybe like American Samoa or something where you've never heard their accent, but you know, he's,
South Africa. I hear that sometimes.
yeah, good. Yeah. I mean, you and Elon could hang out, I guess.
No, I wouldn't hang out with Elon. Not at all. But I have an electric car now.
I would like to hear about your electric car, if I'm allowed to ask about it.
Well, it's not a Tesla, it's a German brand, and it's the whole electric experience is really great. I really enjoy that part.
Do you have somewhere at home to charge it?
I'm working on that. At the moment, for 1 year now, I've been charging off a normal plug, and that takes, if it's completely empty, it takes about 2 to 3 days. Because the charger that came with the car, they call it the brick, that only charges with 1.5 kilowatts. But if I'm at the fast charger, it charges with 110 kilowatts. Almost 100 times as fast. And then it takes like 40 minutes or 50 minutes. Yeah, so it's quite slow, but I already installed a cable up on the driveway. And yeah, we're going to connect it fairly soon.
I'm
The wall
excited
box is
about
hanging,
never
the
going
cable
to
is
the
there.
gas pump again.
Yeah, I'm missing out on the Snicker bars.
You know, you can get those delivered, probably.
I feel like if I had an electric car, I would just forget to plug it in. That feels
You
like
only
my
do that once,
problem
Jeremy.
with it.
Yeah, I don't think you forget, because once you have the electric car, you check on your app all the time, like how is it doing, how much is the battery, how far could I go, because the app shows you like a radius, but it's not just a radius, a round radius, it shows you like, okay, if you go this way, you can use the motorway, and it's a little bit more efficient, so you can go further in this direction, but less far in like this direction.
That's very interesting. So what is the actual brand? He says it's a German brand, but or German car, but what kind of?
It's a Mercedes, yeah.
Okay, well, you don't have to be ashamed of that. That's
Yeah, here in Germany, we don't really, you can't talk about luxury items.
well, you know, for Americans, some of us think that you know things like BMWs and Mercedes in Germany, they're like a Ford, right? So you know, it's just a normal. That's not true, but
Yeah, you know, have you seen The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith?
I don't think I ever saw that. I saw maybe snippets of it.
It's a good movie. I think at the beginning of it, he's in New York, he's on Wall Street, and there's like a guy parking with his Corvette or something like that, and he's like, "Excuse me, what do you work for? Like what's your job?" He's like, "Oh, I'm an investment banker," or something like that. And he's like, "Oh yeah, good for you, great car," and that would never happen here in Germany. Here they would say, "Oh, what a he's got a Corvette."
You know what's interesting to me is so if you let's say you pull up to work in a Mercedes or a BMW whatever a nice car, you know people are like, oh, that guy's got a lot of money, but you pull up to work in a fully loaded F-150, nobody thinks anything of it, but that F-150 is potentially a much even more expensive vehicle,
yeah.
but nobody seems to really, I don't know, at least I feel like there's not the same, I don't know, let's say stereotype. Good for you. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, well, thanks. I got it quite cheaply somehow. This model that I have was a complete flop in Germany because they sold it for an insane price, like Porsche or almost Ferrari price when it came out. Nobody bought it at the beginning, and then COVID started, and now it's like a 4-year-old model already, or 3 years old, and they gave it to me super cheaply just 1 month before they increased the price again, because now we've got a car scarcity here. Because they're missing out on chips. So I was super lucky with that. And that was just the best deal, so I bought that one.
You're not supposed to tell people you got your Mercedes for cheap. You're supposed to say you overpaid for it. Like, you wouldn't believe how much I had to pay for this.
The range is really bad. It's just 400 kilometers in summer. So that's maybe 220 miles. But in winter, it's 250 kilometers. So that's 100 miles.
Well, it's like the opposite of a gasoline car.
What, isn't the range always the same?
Well, I guess the range is the same, but gasoline cars perform better in colder. I mean, I don't think it's a huge difference, but the air compresses a bit more.
Yeah, my old turbocharged car
yeah.
was bananas in the winter. for a couple of different reasons. That denser air, the turbo's like a multiplier for that. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Except they sell terrible gas
Yeah.
in the winter, so if you have poor gas in the car, that offset the gains. But it was still fun. Do you know, Jeremy? I only drive about 20 miles a week now.
Wow, that's not a
I
lot.
would be happy to have an electric car with about 100 miles of range.
Yeah. Same here. It's totally fine.
I thought about this, and it's like I don't drive a whole lot either because I work from home and whatever. But it's like, the problem is, get the range anxiety, yada yada yada. And yeah, I thought, like, as little as I drive, or as little as you drive, Pat, perhaps the solar panels that they seemed a little bit silly for like the Tesla, whatever, the super truck or whatever they call it, Cybertruck.
Yeah.
Somebody said, oh, whatever. It seemed like there was some proposal about that, and probably everybody thought it was silly. But if you're driving 10 miles a week or 20 miles a week,
I
might actually work.
I
Yeah.
know too much about this because there was a big discussion about exactly this on Hacker News last week, and it costs
please
more
tell
to
us.
put the solar panel on the car than it will generate in electricity to charge the battery in 10 years.
Yeah,
or
I believe
something.
that.
There's just not enough
Yeah.
surface area to it. It's complicated because it's all curvy, and it's not just stick a square solar panel on a rooftop.
But see, Pat, you're forgetting the labor savings of you not having to plug it in
Oh.
every day.
This is true. Well, I'd only have to plug it.
So-
If it was a Tesla with 400 miles of range, I'd plug it in once every 3 or 4 months, like I do. Like I already do. I plug it into the gas pump once every 3 months.
Plug it into the gas pump.
But then your hands
That's
smell
not
like
that's not how you
gas,
usually say that.
And you have to.
I enjoy that smell.
I don't dislike
I
it, but then you
I'm
go
driving
places.
around with a gas can in the back of the car for my lawnmower.
Yeah,
The
it
car
has a little
smells
leak
like
in
fuel.
it, so you can smell it better.
Yeah.
Does it
Yeah.
Oh man.
pop the little
Well-
vent, the little, the air
But
hole?
speaking of engines, I still would like to build a boat, like a very small boat, where you're sitting here and your wife is sitting right next to you. It's like 3 meters long and 1.2 meters wide. So it's smaller than a kayak, just a bit wider. And then I'm always thinking about the engine. And for an electric motor, there's so much cost involved. The motor is like $200, and the batteries is 200, and then the motor controller is probably another 200 or 300. And you can buy a lawnmower engine for 300 euros, and you just pull the cord and it runs. No issues.
It runs
you don't have
today,
to deal with anything.
but next year or the year after you haven't mowed the lawn all winter a few times, they don't always start right up.
I guess what
It's
scares me
troublesome.
about that is you got this high current, high voltage. You got water, so that seems like a bit of a safety hazard too.
Yeah,
I
same
could be
even
wrong.
without water. These batteries, they can blow up.
Yeah. Well, Max, I was going to maybe ask you about this later, but now you actually built an electric hydrofoil, or tried to. Now, how is that project
It's
going?
done. It's completed. I posted
Well,
the last
awesome.
video of it. I just haven't tested it yet.
No, that's not true. I saw you test it in the bathtub, didn't I?
Yeah, oh yeah. That was the penultimate video, and the ultimate is still to come, me trying it out on the water, hopefully this year. Yeah, I had it in parts, and now I finished it. It was just finishing touches, really. I don't think it works.
You don't think? Well, I guess that's the question: is something finished if it doesn't work?
Yes.
That's
When I built it,
that's true.
the wing was like you can't see it on camera. It was maybe this wide.
How many
40,
meters?
50
is
That's
that?
centimeters
like two
wide.
feet maybe.
Yeah, I should say in feet. 2 feet wide. But nowadays, all the wings that come out, they're like 80 centimeters, maybe 3 feet wide, and super slim. They look more like on a glider plane. So I'm pretty sure my wing is useless and not optimized. And I would need a new wing, but I will try it first with this wing, and then maybe I'll build a new
Like,
one.
what happens if
Okay.
it's wrong? Do you just not
Well,
get
it's
out of the water, or do you?
Yeah, it's not efficient enough. It has too much drag, too little lift, and the motor draws too much current. So there's a balance of how much current can you pump through that motor before it blows up.
Sounds a little dangerous.
That's why I'm not a fan of this project anymore.
Okay. Well, yeah. I guess that's a.
This is what happens, Jeremy, when you
knows?
start a project in your youth, when you're brave and You know, you think you're immortal. You don't think anything's going to happen to you. Then it takes you a few years to finish the project, and you realize, well, now I'm an adult and I have responsibilities, and I need both of my legs and all my toes, and they're important.
Yeah.
That is true. I mean, it's maybe it's a sign of maturity that you decided, well, maybe this isn't a good project to, maybe this is a good one to kick down the road or kick down the road.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm doing a driveway now, and I find it probably more interesting.
Okay, yeah. Well, let's talk about this. So have you successfully finished the driveway and have you tested it? I guess that's
No, it's not done yet.
Okay.
But we're doing, the bricks, if you drive on it, the bricks want to shift left and right over time. And down, of course. So
Okay.
you need like a border on the side to keep them from moving left to right. I know in America you just pour concrete,
Yeah, generally.
but that's not allowed here. So I need to use bricks. And I'm using steel rails on the side. So I'm basically build a railway again.
Well,
Just
wasn't concrete allowed? Is that for drainage or
aesthetics.
something, or just
They've got really
Yeah,
strict rules here.
I mean, I get that. The bricks do look better. I mean, but
Until they all shift around and move, and they
Yeah.
get a little, and the
Yeah.
grass grows
It's with
between
everything.
the.
The stuff you're used to, that is acceptable. Like with these e-scooters. Now suddenly we have e-scooters in Germany. They were forever banned here, and until they changed the law, and now they can offer these scooters. And now everybody is complaining that these scooters are lying on the pavements. But if you look around, there's so many cars, so many more cars that take up so much more space. But we're used to the cars, and nobody says, "Oh, we've got too many cars here." But everybody is criticizing these scooters.
Yeah, that's a good point because I kind of don't like the scooters either. I mean, no offense to,
Well,
because it's like they're just like on the sidewalk. It's like I just want to like kick them over
Jeremy,
and
do you not like scooters?
well, who's gonna care?
Or not? Or you don't like the rental scooters that everybody doesn't know what to do with?
I don't mind scooters. I think scooters are awesome, but I don't like the fact that they just it's like it's not your sidewalk. It's not like Lyft or not Lyft, Bird or whatever the scooter company is. It's not their sidewalk. So
Yeah.
so why do they get to just like park it there and it's not like I can just it's not like I can just sit there. I mean, I guess I could. I guess that happens.
But
I
you
feel
park
like it's
your
a bit
car
of a,
right next to it, don't you? On the side of the
well
street.
in a parking space.
Yeah.
So, but they
Well,
don't have a.
well, you live in
I
Florida.
guess if there
You've
was
got
a
plenty of
scooter, I guess
space
if there
there.
was a scooter space, that would make sense. But
Here
there's
we've got
not.
tiny streets. The streets were made for horses and people walking past the horses. And now we need for cars 2 lanes, and then for the sidewalk and for bicycle as well, and the
And
scooters.
and
But the cars take
so
up so
you
much
need
more
like
space.
5 lanes now. So anyway, what's your opinion on the scooter rental market in Germany? What you like it or you don't like it or?
Oh, I think it's great if you're on holidays. Like if you're in a foreign city and you just want to save the taxi, you take a scooter.
Okay.
For that, I
Well,
think
yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah, that makes sense. I guess I've never actually ridden one. I've seen them and it's like that's interesting. I don't know. I just feel like well, I could knock one over. They're not supposed to be here anyway. Or you could just throw them, or they wouldn't.
Thinking about vandalizing them.
Well, I've thought about it. I haven't done it, but I don't know. We'll have to cut that, I guess.
It'll be fine.
But look, we've talked about all this random stuff, but what I'd like to get to, Max, is your trash train. It's successful. It's working. What can you tell us about this project?
Yeah, it's a transportation theme today, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
Because
I didn't really
Dallas
think
is
so.
famous for its really bad infrastructure with huge high rises, and around it there's just huge parking
I've heard
lots.
of this. Yeah, downtown is very weird.
Do you ever make it there, Pat? or
I
you,
haven't been in a long time. Why would I go to somewhere where it's hard to take my car?
Well, you've got your single wheel transportation. You've got your scooter.
I've been tempted.
Which I like.
There's a train that's about 3 miles from here that goes to downtown Dallas, and I want to find a way. I want to ride my wheel to a bus, to the train, but I don't have anything I want to do down there. I just want to do it just to say I did it.
Don't you have the mono wheel?
I do.
Yeah.
I do. But you wouldn't. I'm terrified of riding it on our streets here because somebody in their giant F-150 is not going to see me, and they're going to tump me right over, and it's going to end poorly for me.
I think the good rule of thumb is the fewer wheels you have, the worse it's going to be for you. Because I mean, you fist bump a bicycler, as we talked about last week or last time.
Yeah, he'll knock me over. Don't fist bump on a single wheel like somebody's coming at
Yeah.
you, because that will just twist you around, and maybe somebody very skilled
Yeah.
could do it.
Or on a ladder.
Ladder, yeah, you don't want to.
If you meet another painter up on your roof.
Well, sometimes people painting ceilings, they wear those stilts. They're like 4 feet
Yeah.
off
Really?
the ground, and they
Would
could
totally
fist bump,
be
so they
illegal
could
here in
run into
Germany.
somebody on a ladder.
That's true.
Oh, I bet there's
yeah,
a
because you got
terrible
no,
video.
you got no wheels. So if you have no wheels, then you're,
Yeah, you can't even get out of the way. You're too slow with no wheels.
Yeah, at the trash train.
Yeah, speaking of the trash train, good gravy.
Speaking of the trash train, if we may call it that, because I feel like it's interesting because the name is the trash train, but I feel like it's been the most successful project we've talked about so far today.
Yeah,
So
surprisingly, it really resonated with people. It got 3 million views, the video, which
Really?
is
Nice
by
job.
far the
Fist
most
bump.
I ever did. Thanks. And I think everybody can relate to the problem because I built a little train with my trash cans on top, and then it moves the trash cans to the front of the house. That's basically it.
well, I guess we don't have to watch the video now. That all makes sense.
Max is like ChatGPT over here summarizing things for us, so we don't have to watch the rest of the content.
No, but you say that. So first of all, your living situation. You don't live in a house exactly. You live in an apartment, correct?
Yeah, it's 3 apartments on top of each other, so it's like a single family house, but vertical with 3 families. So it's not
Okay.
huge, but it's not small either. So we have 7 trash cans, but that's only because I'm lazy and I don't want to compact the cardboard down. So I just put the cardboard
Right.
boxes full, whole into the bin.
Well, if you Tetris them right, put small boxes into bigger boxes and then into the bin.
I don't even
You
do
don't do
that.
that either?
No.
Oh, I can't live
My
if we
dad
don't
was
do
really
that.
big on that. He loved compacting the trash. But the cardboard trash cans are for free, so that's why we have 3 of them. Yeah, and I can't place them in front of the house because that's kind of, it's not illegal, but they want the front garden to look nice. That's kind of the law here.
Well, that's interesting. So they're more okay with they're not okay with concrete,
Yeah.
but they're okay with like lots of trash cans in the front of your house.
No, they're not okay with it.
Oh,
They
neither.
don't want it. So I've got it next to the house, behind some bushes. But then I don't want to walk all the way around the house to the bushes to get to the trash cans. That area is also just dirt and grass. So
Right.
I would need to put some kind of pavement there, which again we're not allowed to do because you cannot seal as much ground as you have sealed in Dallas. Everything needs to be just dirt and nature so the water can drain down so we don't get these water problems if there's heavy rainfall. So yeah, I wanted the trash cans there, but I can't walk there. So I thought if I have a train track, I don't seal any of the ground, and the water can still, nature can be underneath the trash cans, and the water can drain. And if I press a button now, it drives almost right in front of my front door. So it's convenient, and the front door is already paved, and there's a big area where you can, sort of your rubbish into the separate bins.
The train comes out and it arrives so you can put your trash bags in. And do you hit a button
Yeah.
then to take it away?
Yeah,
Okay. So it's not just for delivering this to the trash collectors. This is also
no,
for you
the
to
trash
sort
collectors-
things. It arrives.
it's mostly for me, but lots of people thought it brings it all the way to the street, which is impossible.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, everybody
interesting.
thinks that, but it's a front door, so it's close to the street, and the trash collectors, they come to your property anyway, grab it, and bring it to the street. Somehow that's the law here in my city. I don't know why. They could save that money and let it do the people that live here. That's what every other town is doing. You need to take your rubbish bin and your trash can and bring it to the curb, but we don't have to.
That makes a lot more sense now because at first I was like, well, neighbors are going to think this is interesting if it just like the train is taking it out of the curb. So it's basically just taking it out to the front of your door.
Yeah.
And you take it out there, put the trash in, and then hit the button. It goes back, and it's out of sight, out of mind until you need it next time. Is that
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah,
nice?
yeah.
Yeah,
And it's like
that would be very helpful.
if you've got a compost in the back of your garden, you don't want it next to your house because you don't want the smell in the summer. But then if you have the garbage in your kitchen, you want to get it to your compost really quickly. So that would be a solution as well. Have the compost post come to you, put your scraps in, and it moves back to the end of your property.
So do you have the compost on the train too, or is that not?
No, not yet.
Well, so you have a remote. You said it was, I believe it's a like car style remote, right? Like a little RF
Yeah.
fob,
Yeah.
right? So you have one, but there's three people living in your apartment complex. So do they have one too? Have you
Oh, it's
talked to them?
at the front door. The remote's at the front door.
What do the other residents think of this?
I haven't talked to them yet.
So how do they put their trash away?
Oh, well, wait, let me. Well, one is my sister, of course.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I noticed that the male audience really likes this idea much more than the females. The females are like, oh, that's cool. But if I show this to, any man, they're like, wow, this is so cool. This is amazing. Yeah, and there's one more family upstairs, but they're always on holidays, so we don't really talk that much.
I mean, I suppose that's an ideal sort of tenant if they pay for the apartment but never actually live there. I mean, that's
Yeah.
of course.
They're quite noisy in the morning.
So no necessarily response from the other residents. What about like are there other neighbors near there? I mean, are there?
Yeah, well, because it's most people that live here, they rent. It's not really a community here. Everybody is anonymous and to themselves.
Interesting.
It's different like where my parents live. They know everybody in the area, and I know everybody in the area because they live there for 50 years maybe.
Max, I know three
But
of my
here-
neighbors.
Left, right, and behind you.
No, they're in. Yeah, no, it
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
even
right.
make sense where I know them. It makes no sense. Yeah, they're not. I don't know three of the directly adjacent. Yeah, I don't know. We don't know anyone.
So where you live, is it like a vacation area? I believe it's where. Can you describe where you
No,
live exactly?
well, yeah,
Max?
it's the middle of town basically. It's a small town. We've got 200,000 people living here, so it's not that big, and it's just that these are like apartments. So people they move in, stay here for a few years, and then they move out again.
Okay, in the center of the city,
Yeah.
but not so much the city as a whole. Just where you are in particular.
Yeah,
Is that,
just
is that
where
accurate?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense. I mean, you wouldn't necessarily, you don't want to rent somewhere forever, and I guess as cool as it would be to live in the center of a small city, it's I guess you wouldn't want to do that for all your life necessarily.
I could stay here.
I mean, I guess what I'm saying is, I've got three kids at this point, so it'd be tough. It'd be tough to live in an apartment.
Yeah.
I mean,
Sure.
it's nice to have a yard and stuff.
Yeah.
Even
Oh, yeah,
even if it
definitely.
would be a
The other thing with the train is I tried to keep it, its purpose is to hide the trash cans, so you can't really see much. And the rails on the ground, you don't notice them. People would only notice this if they walk by and I pressed the button at that time. And even then, most people just walk past. They don't even notice it.
right. Well, no, you said it's gotten 3 million views. So if it's gotten that type of attention, have you ever like run into somebody like that is a trash train house?
I actually got 2 or 3 comments that guessed the city right.
Really?
Yeah, they said, "Oh, this is in Lübeck."
Seems like a nice town, but I wouldn't. I don't see anything that distinct about the video. Maybe
Oh
there
yeah,
is.
oh,
I don't
you
know.
can see by the building styles. I can guess where something is in Germany.
Really?
Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah, because we've got so much bureaucracy here that wherever you build something, there's always a law on how to build it. For example, you have to use a brick facade, or you have at the top of your roof you need a little X that crosses over, stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm impressed you knew how to pronounce facade because I feel like I was maybe like, well older than you before I knew how to say that. The facade. This is
Yeah.
how I've probably pronounced it. So you've been, how long has it been in service now? This trash train?
2 months, and so far it's going really strong. Everything is made of steel and pretty heavy stuff, so I want this to last for a long time, and I don't want to service it every year. It's mostly waterproof. The electronics are all waterproof, like in a proper IP67 box that could be submergible, maybe. And there's a rain cover on top of all of that, so it's working fine. It was and the project was interesting because I never built a train before, and laying the tracks and curving the tracks and working with the steel. that was really fun, and that led to the next project of the driveway. So we're doing that with steel as well, just the
Okay.
borders instead of
Right.
concrete. And I really want to make this train into a product because I think it resonates with so many people. Maybe you could sell it, but not as a train. The next version, I want to build something that goes underground. So a lift, you press the
A
button.
trash tunnel.
Yeah,
Oh, oh, that is. So it wouldn't even move anywhere. It just basically
It would hide.
it goes underground,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
but so it'd be like the trash elevator.
Trash elevator, yeah.
Yeah, and there would be a little square of
Trash
grass
lift,
on the
trash
top,
elevator.
so no one would know.
You can't really do it completely flush without drainage underneath. If you do it, if you want to do it completely flush, some water has to go inside, and then at the bottom of it, there's a pipe that connects it to the city sewer.
I feel like that's. I feel like you'd be like a really petty James Bond villain, like, oh, look at my trash go down into secret layer.
They exist. I'm not the one that invents this, but maybe the first to sell it. Who knows? At
Really?
least
So
in
you've
my
seen
area.
you've seen this sort of trash
I've
elevator
seen it
before.
with cars,
It's
where people park two
Yeah,
cars
I've
in
got
the
that.
same space.
that would be. So that, yeah, because that's interesting. Because you had said you were thinking about making it into a product, but to me, like, there's a whole lot of custom engineering going on. It's not like you could sell. You'd have to show up and work on it for a month, and I don't feel like that's the kind of business you would want to be
No,
in.
no, it has to be one unit. You sell it, you ship it on a pallet, and they put it in the ground, connect the cable, and it's working.
Yeah, just put
That's
it
how
in the
it
ground.
must- At the right level.
Like, what kind of shovel do I need?
Well, you could take this a couple steps further, and you just dig deep enough, and just think about how much trash you can generate over your lifetime.
Yeah.
If you dig a big enough hole.
You're describing a medieval toilet.
That's a big hole.
Not even medieval, maybe 100 years ago. That's what they did. They dug a hole,
You're right. No.
filled it up, dug the next one.
I don't
You're
want
right
to
about
sound
that.
old, but I've used a toilet like that before.
I have too. It's not like it is medieval, but it's not like
Where have you used them?
like there was. We went to Glacier Park like a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
and they had like these bathrooms with no like running water. It was actually pretty terrible because it's like, oh, I want to wash my hands, and they got like sanitizer or something. It's like anyway, so like very very off grid, very purposeful off grid type stuff. Sometimes they'll still use that technology, quote unquote.
It's the only option you have. If you don't have sewage
Yeah.
lines, they sell one system for caravans that incinerates your waste.
How does that smell?
I have no idea how that works, and like how much heat do you have to put into something like that to make it become ashes? So much energy, and then once a week or so, you have to take a little paper bag, put it underneath, and then you get the ashes out.
Well, that part doesn't seem so bad. If it's ashes, that's just like emptying a coal stove. But it doesn't incinerate as it's happening, right? It's like after.
You
It's
have to be
not
quick.
in real time.
Well, maybe just taking this another step further, you had the hole in Max's new trash
Trash abater.
elevator, trash, and you just light it on fire, and the trash is gone, and maybe you even have a heat exchanger, so it heats your house with the trash. So that probably
Why not? Yeah. And we do that a lot. We burn a lot of rubbish here in Germany to generate electricity.
so you're just taking the middleman out, I guess.
Yeah.
Neighbors probably wouldn't like it, I guess. But seriously though, have you started designing the trash elevator?
No, it's still
If I
in
may
my
call it
head,
that.
but I will start soon. At the moment, the workshop, as you see, it's quite full of stuff. We need more space. And today, a nearby city, like the next city over, they promised me some land to build a workshop.
Really?
So, yeah.
Well, they saw the video about the trash train and they're very excited.
Yeah, they haven't even seen it yet. That's a funny thing. I applied like 3 years ago and I said, hey, I would like to buy an industrial property. Something small. Industrial sounds big, but yeah. And now they came back to me and said, yeah, we've got this new property that's been developed, and if you want to, you can purchase a small piece of land. It's a reasonable price, and hopefully I will build a bigger workshop there, and then I can have more space for new products.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. And your main product, it's still kind of what we talked about
Yeah, the drawer slides. Yeah, yeah.
Is that still people
Yeah, the
enjoying that?
microphone
Is
is
that,
hanging off one of the drawer slides right now.
well, that could be a new product too, a drawer slide slash microphone stand.
Yeah, yeah, it's going well, but it's a little bit less now. I think the inflation is so high here that people are really keeping their money together. For example, this piece of wood here, I've just bought this. I'm building a new miter saw station in the workshop. So just this piece of wood, it's 2 foot wide and 4 meters long. So that's maybe 15 feet, and that cost 200 euros. And I know that I bought the same one. That's the one behind me, in 2018 for 100 euros. Still got the receipt. So stuff is so
Wait,
expensive.
a slab of wood, or are you talking about a butcher block or something?
It's a laminated wood. It's lots of small pieces of wood
Okay.
laminated together.
Okay, so it's a nice piece of wood, but I mean that's still a lot of money. But yeah, I mean I guess when you said that, I thought you were talking about like a like a 2x4 or something. I'm like
Yeah.
that's an insane price.
Well, it's like a kitchen countertop basically.
Okay.
But with the high price, I was reluctant to improve the miter saw station now because the wood is so expensive. But I had to do it. So yeah, I just bought it and that's it. But if that applies to everybody, people just consume less in general. Same with the drawer slides. So it's a bit slow at the moment, but I'm positive it will pick up again in a year or so.
Well, I'll tell you what. I think probably it's a good time we take a little coffee break, and maybe when we come back, we could ask Max about how maybe how life is in Germany these days. Maybe his business. I saw something about him repairing a washing machine in creative ways. So that'd be maybe we can ping him about that too. So does that sound good to you guys?
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll take a little break and we'll be right back. Well, hello everybody, and actually Pat's got the night off tonight from the coffee break, so tonight it's just gonna be me doing the top five or so patrons. It's gonna be patrons now, as we talked about last episode. So anyway, our top five or so. First of all, we've got Carl, Michael Sizer, Raptor, Stuart Morrow, Brian Moses, and Positive Waves. Thank you so much for your patronage, and if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/createinvent, and you can pledge different amounts of money. So that would be great. Also, if you want to give us a thumbs up on whatever platform you're listening on, give us a comment, like, whatever. We would really love that. Thank you so much for listening.